Alright, what we got here is a 8¼ inch Dodge rear end out of a Dodge Dakota. As you can see, we got a bunch of loose pieces here in the front. Looks to me like the outside of a bearing race. This thing was making a ton of noise. The drive shaft come off of it. So I'm guessing the bolt came out of the yoke. And as you can already see, we got some nice machine work by the pinion on the differential on the carrier. This whole assembly right here that holds this ring gear is known as the carrier, and it has serious damage. This little bolt right here is the keeper pin that holds this in, and you pull that out, you take that pin out, and there's a C-clip back in here. You can't see it yet, but we're going to get into it in a minute. Mainly why I took this cover off is because I need to find the numbers on it, and there's numbers right here, to see if I can figure out what the gear ratio is. Because this one did not have a tag on the outside to tell us anymore. So I'm gonna set this thing down. Set you down here, and I'm gonna go to work on this. Put that down just a little bit. Make this a little bit easier to see what's happening. Get you up here a little bit so we can see what's in it. Trying to figure out what that gear ratio is. I believe that is 355. Yep. I believe that's what's called a 355 gear ratio. Alright, so what we're going to do here is, well, there's all kinds of metal laying in the bottom. It got kind of toasty too because it's all stuck. Anyway, we're going to see if we can get that pin out. I don't know if it's going to come out, largely due to the fact that it is severely chewed up. Let's see here. Alright, now I gotta get a hold of it. Something. Keep it from turning. I don't know if that's gonna do it. See if I can. Yeah, we may not be able to get that out of there. Oh, let's see. Eight's just a little bit too big, and so let's try a 7. And 7's too small. Well, we may have to get a little creative here to get that axle, or to get them pins out. I don't think we're going to damage it any worse than it already is. The worst part is that that thing could be Loctited in there. And if it is, it's probably not going to come out very well. But it's coming out. Yeah, I ain't being nice about it, but it's coming out. Let's see if this will grab onto it enough to pull it out now. No, it's still too tight for that wrench. Too rounded off. I guess you fight it out with the vice grips. As I can get a hold of the chin locks now. Maybe I can do that, I don't know. Now, this is going to battle me all the way out. And there's nothing I can do about it. Keep fighting with it till it comes out. I wouldn't worry about it, except that that's the only way we're going to get the axles out. Once we pull this and get the C-clips out, then we're good to go. This thing's got about 3/4 of an inch of threads, and then it goes into a pin that goes into that bigger pin that holds it in place. I think it's getting better. See, this is part of the aggravations of dealing with junk that's tore up. You wonder why, those of you that don't understand why mechanics scream and have all kinds of new words, it's because of projects like this. Now we got her out of there. See, that's what we were looking at. Now, this pin, being it's been jammed in there at a weird angle, it's going to have to come out. And it's probably not going to come out nice. I'll have to use a little force. It definitely came out better than I thought it was going to. Okay. There we go. That pin's not in real good shape either. Now, these gears, to get them unstuck, something in here and pry on it again. Got everything jammed together. Now nothing to turn. There we go. Okay, these gears will come out. Now, rotate that like that. The bottom one falls out, and there's shims in here. See, there's your shims. You have to make sure they go back in the same position they came out of if you're putting one of these back together. But anyway, we don't have to worry about that. Now, this axle will push in, and you heard that click. What you're looking for is one of these. That's your C-clip that holds the end of your axle in. Once you do that, the axle will slide out. See that end right there? That's where that C-clip rides. And now the other side. Normally those clips don't come out that easy, but everything in here is trashed, so, and as you can see, the metal that's falling out. It's pretty bad shape. Okay, that's the other side. Now we're going to take this carrier out. This carrier is what this is called right here. It has a bearing under here and a bearing back under here. And pull these little keepers out first. This is another one we're going to figure out See if we can figure out why it died. The damage pretty much tells the story already. It's really not too hard to tell at all. We're going to put the electric on that. Okay. Pull these caps off. And as you can see, there's a bearing under there. Okay. Now, get to the root of the problem. It's a little chunky down there. That's the teeth off that pinion gear. I'm gonna pull that gear out and I'll show you more about it in a second. There's supposed to be the front side of that, a seal holding that together, but it's all pretty well toasted. Bearing is seized onto the shaft. That's what the problem is. And in order to get it out of there, we're going to have to probably get pretty physical with it. That's all the burnt up, ground up metal that used to be part of that pinion gear and bearing. This, when this rolled up, it just drove 70 miles. This thing was driven 70 miles or more with it making noise. So the fact that it made it here is pretty amazing. But it was pretty hot when it got here. As you can imagine, there's little to no oil in it. It still had a little bit of lubrication left, but not much. But the pinion bearing is locked up or froze up. That's what's giving us trouble here. Pinion bearing should come right out of there, but it looks like it's seized onto the shaft. So we're gonna have to turn it upside down and get the whaling on it to get it to come out of there. I'll have to beat on it pretty good, I bet. As it appears to be well stuck. This has got a big nut on it. Let's see if I can. No, it's not. It's just seized into the bearing. It's not. The bearing's not froze up. I thought the bearing was froze up. The bearing's turning, so. There it went. Now we have to get the bearing back off of it. Or the nut back off of it, I should say. made myself a bunch of work here. Truth is revealed. This is the inner pinion bearing, this is the outer pinion bearing. And the outer pinion bearing is gone. Completely. There's some more of it right there. And then there's some more pieces around here, laying on the front of the, see that right there, them bearings, and what's left of the bearing, that's the rollers for it. Yeah, it was, see there's a bunch more down inside there. So we know what happened. Okay. Know that the front pinion bearing died, and when it did, see, it was letting this move in and out. See, what did all that damage was this thing's moving in and out like this, back and forth. Alright, and when it moved out, then it hit that ring gear. It hit this. That's what was making these big gnarly marks on the back of this carrier. It came all the way back out and was rubbing against this. Normally, they're supposed to mesh in with those teeth right there. And them teeth are about half as long as they're supposed to be. And all that noise was those teeth being ground off. So that's what the problem was. And so this one's going to be a complete replace. I'm not even going to try to fix it. It's just needs a set of gears, all new bearings, and I'm not even sure that if I got the bearings, I might be able to replace that, I guess. I'll be able to tell here in a second. See if I can punch that front bearing out. I might be able to. If I can punch that front bearing out, now let's turn that down on its nose here. Probably get that to come out better. Pick up all my pieces before my lawnmower finds them. Let's see if we can kick that into that oil pan. I normally have a big chunk of aluminum that I use for this, but since this is not going to be dealt with anymore, we're not worried about it. Get you lined up a little better there. That longer piece would help matters a bunch. Let's see if this will do a better job. Might. Yeah. May have to go get my chunk of aluminum here. I don't even know if it's coming out. Yeah, it's coming out. But it really doesn't even have to. I can probably show you just by looking at it. You can see. See that bearing surface? See how rough that is? The bearing died. See? That's what caused the problem. That bearing failed, and it allowed that pinion shaft to go in and out until it disintegrated. So, I think that's probably about as far as I need to make on this. We know what happened, and you can obviously see the damage from it. It's not a pretty sight. So, there's another one torn down. We know what it needs. We just got to get one and get it in there.